Alright guys, last week I said that I would do a tutorial answering your questions, so basically what I'm going to do here is just read the question and then kind of answer it. So first one is how to get a nice contrast from the subject and the background and how to do the gradients. So what I would recommend is coming up with a good preset for a gradient. Like I already have one that I use for mostly everything, but we'll start from scratch here. And what you want to do is use two colors that go together really well, like obviously like orange and pink go together really well, blue and green, stuff like that. So blue and pink works too, blue and like purplish. So yeah, you're going to want to pick colors that go together well. So let's just make a quick one here. I'm actually going to go to here. We'll do this. Blue. Alright, now I usually scale it up to the max. I mean, you can go smaller depending on the type of gradient you have, but it just blends together way more nicely. So once I have a gradient, I will rasterize layer style. So now it just becomes kind of more, you can edit this. And what I'll do is make another layer and I will fill it with black, and then I will add noise to this. Then I'm not working on a super high resolution scale right now, so I just want to increase the resolution of the noise by scaling it down here, duplicating it, and you're probably going to want to turn on snap for this so you can get them directly next to each other. And you can still kind of see a line here. So what I'll do is flip this one horizontal so that it blends together. I mean, you can see that it's mirrored right here, but it looks better than a line. So I just merged these two together, and then I'm going to duplicate this once more, and I'm going to flip this one vertically. So now I just have a mirrored noise, and then I'm going to reshrink it down so it just fits the screen here. Doesn't have to be perfect, just you want it pretty high resolution for this. And then I'll throw this on overlay, and that just adds like another level of graininess. Or you can use color burn, but sometimes it can kind of mess with the gradient a little bit. But that's kind of how I get my gradients to look the way they do. So this one isn't really a good gradient that shows how well the noise works. But yeah, there you go. So this is like my favorite gradient of all time. So, and the noise works really well with it. See? So yeah. So that's how I get my gradients to look nice. Like if it's just flat like that, yeah. I mean, it still looks good because the colors work together, but once you add the noise, it really makes it look that much better. Just little details like that, super important in my opinion. All right, let's see. Next question. Grime art. All right, so that would be this one. And I'm not gonna like tell you like right now, like because this isn't like something that you just can like put the effect on and it will do it itself. Like you actually have to, like I have a tablet and I'll draw this stuff out. So yeah, this is just drawing. I mean, and obviously takes some practice. like I sucked at it when I started, and the more you put into it, the better you'll get at it. So I guess, so yeah, for this, I started with, I like, I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, color burn works really well with this style because you don't have to draw the shadows in, which is like something that makes it look a lot better because if it's just flat like this, um, yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, you can see what I'm saying. But when you put the color burn on, it looks good. Also, what I like to do is I don't when I fill in the inside of like you'll notice these black dots here. When I fill in the inside, like color in, I miss spots purposely so that when I can do this thing right here, it says stroke inside. So what that'll do is basically make it kind of look, I don't know, imperfect, and adds like another level of detail to it. Something that I've just found and that I kind of like to do. Yeah. So there's really no simple way to do this. It's sit down and draw. That's how you get this effect. And you're going to want to follow like the, just the general flow of the face, which way it's going or whatever. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Double exposures. Those are pretty self-explanatory. They take 2 seconds. There's really no skill involved in these. Adobe stock, everything I've downloaded. I mean, the only one thing you're going to want is a model that's on a white background. And if they're not on a white background, you're going to want to cut them out so that they are on a white background. And you're going to want the model to have some level of black values in there. Like the hair is really black, so the double exposure will work really well in the hair. And then you're going to want to find, obviously, a good image. And for this, I'll go over this in a minute of where to find good images, but I'll use Unsplash because people just like donate their photos and say, here, you can use them. Super cool. So let's see. Let's just type in forest. Ones with like a good tree line are good because good tree line and like a really bright sky, something like this or like this, will work really well with a double exposure. It's just fine. I mean, I don't know what. So this one right here would work really well. This one right here could work. This one right here could work. This one right here could work. This one. Notice that all the skies are like bright values, bright color values. Let's see. Well, let's try this one. So for this, you just scale it up, throw it on lighten or screen. Screen will look like that, lighten will look like this, and then you're just going to drag it to where you want it. So let's say right there. Notice that you can still see the hair. A good way to get rid of that is by going into the layer that the model's on and just going image, adjustment, brightness, contrast, and then click use legacy and just keep and boost the brightness. Oh, hold on. No, wrong layer. This one. The layer that the forest is on. Image, adjustment, brightness, use legacy. There you go. So now like you don't see really the hairline anymore. Contrast. So yeah, we're getting some weirdness in the background, but I mean, this is basically how I go about doing it. And it might be because this background layer here that the model's on isn't completely white. The whiter, the better. So yeah, you just gotta play around with it. But that's basically how you would go about it. Super easy to do. Yeah. So double exposure is simple. All right, next question. Process for the turntables. Yeah, those are simple too. I mean, the hard part is just coming up with the concept itself, which is just like I saw a turntable and I was like, wouldn't it look cool if somebody was swimming in it? So yeah, you would just find basically an aerial photo of somebody swimming and the same of a vinyl record. So you want two pictures that are both kind of the same perspective, looking down. Great. A lot of questions on gradients. Let's see, your color correction workflow. Okay, I guess that's a good question. Let's see. Let's find a picture that kind of... So this one here. So pretty boring background. How would you go about making it like look better? First, you'd want to kind of isolate her from the background. So this one, I mean, I would definitely, in all circumstances, recommend using the pen tool to cut out anything, just because like you can get way more detailed, you can get up close, and cut exactly the portions out that you want. And 90% of the time, I'll use this to isolate something. But in this case, like she's well contrasted against the background, so I can probably get away with just using the quick selection tool. We'll see. And yeah, obviously that's going to save you a bunch of time, but most of the time you won't get the level of accuracy you would get if you use the pen tool. But this one's pretty, like you can see I mean, there's still some issues, but you can use this smart radius right here when you do use the quick selection, and that'll kind of fix any imperfections. So yeah, we'll use that for now. And then in here, we'll just pen tool this section out. All right. So this is a lot of just trial and error, just really messing around with getting the subject, to really sit on the background nice. And usually, one good thing to do is just reduce the opacity of the layer. So, and that automatically just gets the person to fit into the gradient much better. Another thing you can do is multiple layers. So you can boost the opacity on overlay to this, then duplicate this layer on top, throw it on maybe like color burn or something, start to get that, duplicate it again, throw it on normal, reduce the opacity, and now like the colors are kind of, you know, saturated into her skin, which makes her look like she's actually in the scene better. So let's see. I honestly think I liked it better when there was maybe this. So yeah, those two layers, the color burn layer and the just a normal layer with the opacity reduced, to me looks the best. So once I would get all this, I would, let's actually move the, I use noise a lot, so I'll move the noise above her as well. No, just kidding. So let's merge these layers. So now we got this, and I'll use, a lot of times I'll use a channel mixer, which is another way to kind of get the colors to look a lot better. And really there's no method behind this, it's just moving them up and down until you find which one you like the best. So yeah, that was barely any change, but I think it looks a little better. Also, I'll use this brightness contrast and just mess around with those values as well. Other things you can do is I'll just duplicate this layer, add another gradient over it, put it on normal. Okay. Throw it on lighten, and you can use that to kind of brighten it up, or throw it on screen. All these different ones kind of help. Overlay, hard light, vivid light, whatever you think looks the best. Just go through and keep tweaking the colors. Usually that's how I go about it. You just want them to look like they're more involved in the image instead of just cutting them out and putting them, just plop them on the background and say that's it. So, all right, next question. Wow, you guys had a lot of questions on gradients, huh? Image blending. So yeah, we're kind of going over that. And the slimy dripping effect. A lot of those ones. Which is basically just drawing. You need a tablet though. You're gonna need like one of those. I used the Wacom tablet. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Wacom. So let's see, which one do I have? I don't have a super expensive one either. Just something like this is fine. I think I have this one here. This one for $179, but any one will work. Yeah, this one's $9.16. Yeah, but you're gonna need one of these, and they are kind of once you first start using them, they are a little tough to get used to. It's not the same as like drawing on a piece of paper, but the more you use it, you'll eventually figure it out. So I think another good thing that a lot of people have asked is like where I get my images from, ones to use. And I use multiple places. I pay for Adobe stock, so this will give me about 15 images a month that I can go through. So, and also it gives you this is super helpful, like libraries. And when you find something you like, you just kind of add it to this. So maybe something not that I'm feeling right now, but I'll go through these images. Like these are the libraries that I've collected, or the images that I've collected, and said, hey, maybe one day when I'm feeling it, I'll use one of these. And a lot of them I've already licensed, but yeah. And a good thing to use with Adobe stock is like you can find similar images. So either you can like, let's see, like say you want to find something similar to this, you drag it up here and you can start going through these. Or maybe this one. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but so yeah, I use Adobe stock a lot. And to find them, a lot of the things I'll search are like high fashion images, usually give you some really cool stuff. Oh, uploaded image, that's what the issue was. So yeah, you can find some really good stuff if you look through things like this. Another good resource is obviously Shutterstock. And I don't have a subscription with them, but I will pay for, like, I have another collection on here. So I will pay for the image if I really like it. And I think it's like maybe 30 or 40 bucks for 2 images. So if I really like the image and I think I'm going to use it, I will purchase it, or purchase 2. 2 images. I forget what the exact price is, but Shutterstock has some good stuff. Another good resource is Creative Market. My Wi-Fi is super effed up, so sometimes I have to go like this. So let's see. So you can get some good resources on here, like just like textures too. So I'll usually spend like 50 bucks and buy some, you just buy credits. So right now I have $30 worth of credits, and you can find some, just good stuff in general. Like I think let's see what I've bought through here. Purchases. So these abstract glitch textures, really cool stuff. I found these on Creative Market. The vinyl records that I've used for the people swimming in them. Bought a resume on here. Bunch of paint textures. Pictures I've used in the past. So you can find some awesome stuff on here as well. If you don't want to spend money, you can use Unsplash, which is definitely the best for just, that's like free stock photo image. It's not, I don't even know if it's like really a service. It's just like people are so generous that they'll literally just donate their images and say you can use these for whatever you want. Something that I don't think I could ever do. But you can definitely find some awesome stuff on here. And just like with Adobe stock or Shutterstock, Creative Market or whatever, you can also build kind of a collection of the images you like. So I have my own folder where I see an image and I say, hey, maybe I can use this for something. And I'll just keep collecting them. And I'll go through them every once in a while when I feel like I'm like losing creativity. Just look through them and say, can anything be done here? Some of these images I've used. So, yeah. There's also other people have collections on here that are really good. Like one of my favorites is, I think it's Water Journal. And under users, Water Journal, one collection, and these people, whoever they are, they find some good images and just add them to their collection. So find other people who are making collections and look through theirs. You might find some cool stuff. Another thing I use a lot is Wikimedia Commons. And you can find some either government images that are in the public domain, or like when I'm looking for like good crystals or whatever, I'll usually use Wikimedia Commons. And you can find some high resolution things to make come out of people's faces and stuff. So, good resource. Also for like sculptures and stuff. This is a great place to look. So also for sculptures, I'll actually go to museum websites like Met Museum has some really good sculptures. And I believe their stuff is in the public domain, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, you can find cool stuff on here. I still like using Google for stuff like that. For like marble sculptures or whatever, you would just go images, and then what I would do is use this section right here where it says tools, and you're going to want a high resolution photo, so you're going to want to go larger than, and you can pick, I mean, this is a massive pixel count, but I'd usually go like larger than 6 megapixels, and then you're also going to want to change this usage rights section right here to labeled for reuse with modification. So it'll mostly just show you public domain stuff that you can definitely use and nobody's going to give you any issues, which is also super important. You don't want to just take something off somebody's website and be like using it for for yourself. So good way to find stuff is to use that larger than 6 megapixels and use for modification. And you can look up anything here, like texture. Find some good textures, whatever you want. Minerals, stuff that you can use for making art. Yeah, there's tons of resources online to find good images. Other free ones are Pixabay, which has a lot of stuff on there as well. Pexels. And these are more of like Unsplash is basically like their own, these like people are just uploading to there. What Pexels and Pixabay will do is kind of collect from multiple websites. So they'll use Unsplash or what other free stock images surfaces and kind of compile them into one thing. So yeah, you can get some good images by using everything that I've just told you. All right, any more questions? So I think the best thing is just to come up with a good concept and then make it happen, which like what's the one I'm working on or just finished was, let's delete all that. Oh shit. There we go. Like a slimy banana or whatever. Kind of just come up with a good concept and then figure out how to do that. But yeah, there was a lot of color correcting in this one just because the original image is kind of crummy. Not crummy, but I'll show you. So that was the original image. It was actually a square. So let's see. Downloads, this one. So yeah, that was the original. And then what I did, which is a square, to kind of make it the dimensions I want, I use content aware fill a lot. So edit, oops. So edit, fill, content aware. And what that'll do is just figure out what the colors are and fill it in correctly. So now I have the dimensions. I think I shrunk it down a little more. So like that. Edit, fill, oops, select inverse, then fill. There we go. So another thing I did was I used the pen tool to select just the banana, and then I filled the surrounding area, all this, with different patterns. So you can see here, here's the first pattern I used was just, so I actually did do a lot of like fixing the colors, and I used the channel mixer for that to get just the background more blue and the banana to be like stick out more from the background, more vibrant. Then I added this pattern here, which is, if you go into your, so you can download patterns into here, or you can create your, so yeah, let's do that. Let's make a pattern. Edit, fill, foreground color. So I use Adobe stock a lot to find like good seamless patterns, and I've downloaded quite a few. But you'll just type in like seamless pattern, and all these will, by seamless means that you can duplicate the layer and add the images together, and you can't tell where it starts or begins. So let's see if I have any good ones. Alright, let's use this. So I have already gone over how to do, in my other tutorial, how to do this, get a actual reaction diffusion pattern without having to download it. Just, create it from scratch. There's multiple ways to do it. But these are seamless, so you can literally just duplicate them next to each other, and you can't tell where it starts or begins. So to get this like into your patterns preset layer thing panel, you're just going to select this here and do edit, define pattern, pattern 5, whatever, name it if you want. And then when you double click on like this layer 283, you'll have this selection down here which says pattern overlay, and now you'll have this pattern. So you can scale it down. I mean, obviously I didn't spend time selecting it perfectly because there's a line right here, you can see it, and right here. But if you really zoomed in and got exactly this edges of the square. Yeah, so that's what I did for this. So I have a bunch of seamless patterns already loaded into this pattern overlay section. And say you want to use this one, the one that I just uploaded. I have it right now on color burn. So background now is starting to get more interesting. I used like these weird dot things and just shrunk it way down. So, and then I added another layer, still haven't, and yeah, background is like way more interesting now. And I think I still need to do some work down here with the blending of this paint splash because there is some issues with it. Yeah. Anything else? Let's see. This pattern's pretty dope. Memphis, I think is the name of this. Memphis pattern. Yep. These are definitely cool. Cool patterns. Still looking for any questions that I haven't answered. You guys asked a lot of the same questions like gradients, color correction, how to do the drippy slime head face thing. So I found this image the other day, and I think I'm going to make smoke kind of come out of her head. It looks like a perfect setup for that. There's the cactus one, the donut one, the pineapple one. I can definitely show you guys how I did this. So Grayscale Gorilla put out a tutorial a while ago, and I think it's Goo, where they show you how to create in Cinema 4D. This is a while ago that I learned how to do this, but you can watch it and they'll show you how to make this gooey effect in Cinema 4D. And then, so I did that, and I forget what I saved. I think I saved it as Goo. So I created this here, this goo, and I found a good picture of a pineapple. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So that was the original image. Did a lot of different color correcting using the channel mixer and adding multiple layers of just different colors to blend in with the background. I took this part of the pineapple here and just Where are we? Just rotated it to match this section of the goo. Put it here, blend it in nicely, and you're done. Not that simple, but for the most part, that's how I did it. Just different stuff that I really haven't posted yet. I don't know. I've had this for a while, but I honestly think it looks like crap. So I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. This one I'll probably post today, but I'm still annoyed about this section down here. Good place to get like inspiration. I use Pinterest a lot just to find, I don't know, they do the best of collecting or posting stuff that you think would be cool. Like that's pretty sick. Smoke coming out of a person, somebody else looks like they did it too. And then there's also this dude on here, G Monk, that is there a that just like has just a really good collection of inspiring stuff. Just stuff that gives you good ideas. This is definitely done in some 3D platform. A bunch of spline wraps. Alright, I think I'm done. Cool ideas everywhere. So I'll usually do this for like an hour before I start an image, and just it lets you like just kind of figure out what other people are doing, see some good ideas, and then maybe like look, that's sick. Donut wreath. Banana cactus. Cactus balloon. Squid coming out of an ice cream cone. So yeah, just see what other people are doing, and gives you a lot of good ideas. And then come up with a good concept on your own, and do your best to make it happen, I guess. Oh shit, that's me. Yeah, maybe you'll even see yourself pop up sometimes. You'll be like, what the, what the. That's a cool one. This is definitely the best website for like if you're just searching through stuff you think it's cool, and then you click on it, it gives you other related content. And yeah. That's awesome. Pink elephants. There's some grime art, and this is De La Deso. I definitely, if you're really into the whole grime art thing, I would definitely recommend looking up this dude. He's definitely the best out there doing this effect. Really where I got the inspiration for the drippy things I started doing. Let's see, De La Deso. Slow internet. What the? Yeah, I have like the most expensive internet package, like supposedly the fastest, but my connection at this apartment for some reason is just brutal. Don't know why I'm paying for this. Yeah, so I definitely recommend checking De La Deso out if you're really into grime art. And he does some really cool stuff. I mean, those are just super detailed. Like, they look super drippy. I mean, it's not like I still have a hard time getting them to look like they're actually dripping. And you can see it uses like a lot of shadowing and like these. I don't know. They just look looking good. Little dude standing on the chin. So yeah, if you're into grime art, scope this dude out. He's sick. All right, I'd say this is a wrap. If you guys have any other questions, just email me, and I'll try my best to answer it. All right, later.